Hi guys, MrRoflWaffles here. This is a list of 20 tips I wish I knew sooner in Black Ops 7 Zombies. Ways to get a free ray gun, free perma-perks, which are a new addition in this game, free pack-a-punch levels, die much less often, and take down the bear super easily every single time. To start with, did you know you can actually overheal in zombies now to go above your max number of HP? This can be achieved a few different ways, such as using the Healing Aura Field upgrade or using the Necrofluid Gauntlet Wonder Weapon, but one of my favorite easily accessible ways to overheal is using stims. If you use these below full HP, it's just going to boost you up to full, but if you use them when you're at max, it's going to overheal you and make you a bit stronger, so if you know you're going to get in a sticky situation, pre-using the stim has some benefits. Next, have you found that sometimes this fungus is really annoying to destroy? A pro tip for this to make your life a lot easier is to make sure you spawn in with explosive equipment and then start off the generator by just blowing it up with Semtex. Then you'll have a lot less that you have to shoot on the other side and you'll be able to get the generator done really fast. Next, this game has a change to its points system which is really important to pay attention to. In old school zombies, we used to shoot zombies in the leg and then get a knife kill in order to get the most points possible. And that got removed in modern zombies with the modern point system, but in Black Ops 7, they've made a change so that if you get crits with your knife, that will give you 150 points. And not only that, but there's a heavy melee attack now, and that's going to do more damage than your regular knife. So knifing in the early rounds to get as many points as possible is a really good idea, and it's more viable. As a little bonus, you can also pack-a-punch your knife if you didn't know that, and you can put ammo mods on it and upgrade its weapon rarity. Next, I'm sure you've seen these little devices around the map. They're the Black Ops 7 equivalent of the Fumigator from Shadows of Evil, and you've probably also seen these green spores around the map as well. These two things work in conjunction. You use the Fumigator on the spore, and it starts an alarm, and zombies will run towards it trying to attack the plant. You need to defend the plant, and if you do so successfully, you'll get points, salvage, and even guns for free. But that's not the tip here. The real tech is that if you use toxic growth on top of the plant while you're defending it, you're going to get a perfect defend, and it's going to make your rewards absolutely juiced. So you can end up leaving the spawn area on like round 8 or round 9 with double pack-a-punch guns here just from using the spores over and over again and using toxic growth on them. The nice thing also is that toxic growth stays for multiple rounds, and there's 2 plant locations in the spawn, so you can just keep doing this over and over again and getting more and more pack-a-punch crystals for free. And then as soon as you want to move on in your game, you can just change off toxic growth and switch to Ether Shroud or Frenzied. And by the way, that tip came from Shake, so shout out to him for letting me know, and a lot of these tips do come from you guys, so if you've got tips that you want to share and be featured in the next tips video, then make sure you leave a comment down below or come and let me know in one of my live streams. Next, when you spawn in Black Ops 7 Zombies, you are forced to have Gobblegums already in your inventory. And sometimes it's actually annoying to spawn in with gobbles that you're like, actually, I don't really want to use this because I don't have many of them and I want to save it. So my recommendation for you is to always load into your game with at least one of those slots being either a blue Gobblegum or a whimsical Gobblegum. And then you can use the new Crushing Balls feature in Black Ops 7, which will destroy that gobble and give you points instead. And there are smart ways that you can go about this. So if you want to earn more points, you can crush a higher rarity ball. So whimsicals give you 100, blue gives you 500, purple 1500, orange 3000, and reds give you 5000. But also, you can wait to crush those balls until double points is active. So this is the perfect way to start recycling all those balls that you don't want. Next, in past Zombies games, we've had SAM trials, which were pretty good, but sometimes the rewards would give you duplicate perks, and they were a little frustrating. In BO7, that's changed, and the TED trials in Ashes are absolutely phenomenal. I highly recommend you do them anytime they spawn into the game, as they will frequently give you multiple perks for free, saving you upwards of 10,000 points a lot of the time. And the really cool thing is if you already have all the perks in the game, when you do a TED trial and it gives you free perks, it's not just going to give you duplicates, but instead it's going to give you perma-perks. This version of perma-perks are brand new to this game, and it means that if you die, you won't lose those perks on your bleed out bar. Instead, when you get revived, you'll just still have the perma-perk. So especially if you're trying to do a boss fight completion, and I've got a full Easter egg guide on my channel, this is a really smart idea to prioritize. Now, another super quick tip is as you move around the map, you're going to start noticing these zombies hanging from different structures. And those zombies can actually be killed for points a lot of the time, time, so you can just get some free money essentially by killing them as you move through the world. Now, speaking of free stuff, it's pretty rare that stuff is actually free in life, right? Like normally there's a catch. Normally you still have to pay taxes or you still got to pay a shipping fee or what have you. But sometimes things really are free. And an example of that is the GamerSupps free sample link that I have in the description of this video. I know it sounds crazy, but they're doing a limited time promo with me where if you click that link, you land on the free samples page, you make an account on their site, then you add the free samples to your basket, you go to the checkout, put in your shipping info, and then make sure code Milo is applied. It will be 100% free to get samples shipped directly to you. And I mean it's free. It won't even ask you for a credit card. They'll just send you free stuff. And this is extra good news because I love GamerSupps. It's essentially like G Fuel, but there's no chalkiness. And they have both caffeinated and non-caffeinated options. And I usually drink the non-caffeinated because it just tastes so good. They're putting on this promo just for you guys, so I figured I'd give you a heads up, so make sure you click that link. Now let's say you've been absolutely guzzling GamerSupps or guzzling perks in-game. You might not realize, but there's a change in Black Ops 7 where that's actually going to spawn the Wonder Fizz in earlier. So instead of having to wait until round 25 for it to be in the map, if you've already purchased 4 perks, the Wonder Fizz will appear early in the spawn area. But if you don't purchase any perks, you can also just wait till round 25. Next, the special rounds in Black Ops 7 Zombies are these little Ravagers, and you need to be careful because they will eat things on the floor, such as guns that you might have dropped from spinning the mystery box, or your precious salvage. So you might think that the tip would be kill them as fast as possible so you don't lose your stuff, but actually you can take advantage of the Ravagers, because often there'll be stuff on the floor that you don't want, such as equipment that's just bad, or a gun that you discarded from the mystery box. And in those scenarios, it can sometimes be a good idea to let the Ravager eat the thing you don't want, and then the Ravager will start glowing. Then, when you kill the Ravager once it's glowing, it will drop salvage for you, and this can be a nice way to boost your salvage supplies instead of having a load of extra surplus guns on the floor. Next, there's quite a lot of verticality on Ashes, and you've probably already fallen to your death at least once. So our next couple of tips are going to save you from ever doing that ever again. Firstly, go to your settings and under movement, turn combat roll assist to partial. This will make it so that every time you drop from a height that would have otherwise killed you, the game will do a combat maneuver. As you land, you'll pop into third person for a second. It's very weird, but it will save you from death. It's incredibly useful, so I highly recommend this. Next, there's also a lot of really cool movement tech locations that you can use to get around the map a bit easier and also avoid falling. For example, when you open up the barn in the farm, you can jump off this hay bale and actually clamber up this window from the outside. You can also get into the top floor of the farmhouse by getting on this fencing here and then clambering up the front. You can be in Ashwood and you can jump from this little zipline location over to the bridge over this massive gap. And you can also jump from this location next to this other jump pad and bounce off the wall on the right-hand side and cover that gap very easily. And you can do things like clamber up here to get to this jump pad really easily and get out of that tight corner. Then in the diner, there's a ton of different spots that you can use and bounce around as well. Those cars that are in the sky are there designed for you to jump off them. So use all those different jumps as you're moving around the map, but if you don't want to do any techie wall jumps, there's still some smart jumps that you can make in Ashwood to prevent yourself from falling and taking any damage when you're up top and you want to go downstairs to pack a punch at Tessie. With a lot of the bridge, it's just a big open drop and you're gonna seriously regret it if you drop and break your ankles. But if you drop through some of these specific gaps, you'll see that there are actually roofs underneath you which will cushion your fall, and you'll then slide right to the garage and you can proceed without taking tons of damage. Next, this might be obvious to veteran Black Ops 6 Zombies players, but in Black Ops 7, there are zombie builds, which you need to enable in the game's gunsmith before you load into the game, and by doing that, you'll get the attachments that you want on certain weapons every single time you get them. So to do this, you're just going to set up a build with all your preferred attachments, and then on console, you're going to hit left trigger on this screen, and it's going to mark it as your zombie build, and that way, that's what will always show up out of the box. Now, speaking of the box, A lot of people in Black Ops 7 Zombies are used to Black Ops 6, where you can just upgrade your loadout weapon and it's fine. But in BO7, the salvage economy has changed a bit, and it's more expensive to spend salvage on early game weapon rarity upgrades. As a result of this, an alternative option that you have is to use this guy called Chompy. You'll spawn in with a weapon, and it'll be grey rarity or something. And then you should spin the box and get another weapon at higher rarity. Then you can put your old weapon into Chompy by meleeing him, and he'll spit out a load of salvage, which will then obviously contribute towards you upgrading your rarity on your new box weapon. This is something that you can do once per round, and you can do it over and over and over again through your game. So long as Chompy's wriggling, you can melee him and put in a gun. But what if Chompy's not wriggling? Well, this might be an indicator that a different Chompy on the map is active right now. So if you drive to a different POI and you find that Chompy, then you might see that that's the one that's wriggly and you'll be able to feed it. But if you don't want to sacrifice a whole weapon to Chompy, you can also throw lethals into him, and it will also give you salvage for doing that. Next, something that you might have found earlier in your game in Black Ops 7 is that you can't craft some of the equipment that you want, like maybe Casimirs, for example. You can't craft them. And thankfully, there is a way to get more Casimirs more consistently in this game. So what you're going to want to do for this is get your first Casimir from one of the various sources around the map, and I can talk about that more in future videos if you like. But then, crucially, we're going to make sure that we don't pick up any other tactical equipment, even if you've just got 0 remaining. And then, when you get a max ammo, it's actually going to refresh your equipment fully to max, and so you'll have 2 Casimirs again. And if you do this in combination with the Vulture Aid Picky Eater Augment, it's going to mean that you get a lot more Casimirs a lot more regularly. And this also works just fine for monkeys as well. Next, when you're driving old Tessie around, you might find in a solo game especially that you're taking a lot of damage from Ravagers on your back, and they're a bit annoying. But if you're smart, you can actually scrape the Ravagers off the vehicle by dragging Tessie along the walls a little bit, and you can also use the boost on Tessie, which a lot of people don't even know is there, and that can make them fly off as well. Similarly, going for various jumps in the different fog locations also knocks Ravagers off. And another Tessie tip is I really like using her Abomination Beam on various enemies that you'll see out in the wild, like bears, for example, because it's just a nice chunk of initial damage and you get it for free because it's just going to go on cooldown. And if you don't know how to get the Abomination Carcass, leave a comment and I can explain that in depth in my next tips video, because this is a series. I do loads of these videos. So I guess actually make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss those. Now next, going back to Vulture Aid real quick, you might have noticed in Black Ops 7 that sometimes you run out of Wonder Weapon ammo a bit sooner than you'd like, but if you put on the Parting Gift Augment, it's going to give you a lot more Wonder Weapon ammo and mean that you pretty much can't run out of Ray Gun or Ray Gun Mark II. Next, there is a way to get free Ray Guns in Black Ops 7 Zombies, and you don't need to use Gobblegums for this, thankfully. So what you need to do is remember Chompy, which I showed you guys earlier, and very simply, all you need to do is make sure that you're in the habit of consistently feeding him. You just need to keep an eye out for Chompies when you're in various POIs and look for the wriggly ones so that you can feed them, and so long as you get in this habit and you're consistently keeping him fed, you'll eventually get a free ray gun. Now, something I know is going to be a pain in the butt for a lot of you guys is the bear in Ashes, which spawns in for the first time on round 16, and then it spawns regularly from that point onwards. So here are some tips to take the bear down pretty much instantaneously. Number 1, if you use one of the psych grenades on the bear, he'll actually become your friend for a bit and attack other zombies for you, but this doesn't really last very long, so it's not the best. So what's a better approach? Well, I love using stun grenades on the bear. This will cause him to go onto his hind legs, and it'll make his weak spots, which are his little beehives, very easy to shoot. So doing this in conjunction with some of the extra stuff I'm about to say is just super OP. So first of all, Napalm Burst and Brain Rot are both super effective ammo mods on the bear, so go to an arsenal machine and put those on your gun to do even more damage when you're trying to take it down. If we take Napalm Burst as an example, if you also put on the Big Game extension and Contact Burn augments, those will all absolutely shred the bear. But what if you don't want to use Napalm Burst? Well, another option you have is to put Shadow Rift on your gun and use Big Game and Haste as its augments. Then combine that with a Mangler Cannon score streak that you can craft at the crafting bench. And what you need to do is, once a bear spawns, shoot the bear until Shadow Rift procs and the bear falls from the sky, and that will basically half the bear's health. And then you can use the Mangler Cannon to do massive bear damage and finish the bear off. My next tip is, if you leave a comment on this video with a recommendation of your own for ways that other players can improve, you might be spotlighted in my next tips video. And that tips video is actually linked on the screen right now. So if you want even more juicy info about Black Ops 7, it's right there for you to click, or you can use these tips to do the main quest Easter egg. And I've also linked my no-nonsense guide for you on the screen right now. So leave a comment and then click through, and I'll see you in one of those videos. Bye for now.